I'm Shane R. Monroe. We've got a lot to do. Let's get to it. Now you're going to need a FAT32 formatted USB stick. Now I've got one here and it's exFAT. Now I could run over to the Xbox, power it up, plug it in and reformat it, but instead I'm going to use the command line. Now because I know it was drive D, I can use format space D colon space slash FS file system colon FAT32 slash quiet slash I don't remember what the X is. Don't worry about it. So what this will do is format as FAT32. Now I know what you're saying, Shane, why don't you just format it with Windows and just do it that way? Well, unfortunately, Windows doesn't like to format things in FAT32. So now we have a D drive that is FAT32. Again, you could have done it on the Xbox, but this is how we did it. Next up, we're going to need the software, and we're going to start with the Ultimate Starter Pack right here. The link will be in the description below. You want the XEUnshackle ready to roll pack. We're going to download it. Remember where you put it. Easy peasy. It's fairly small. It shouldn't take too long. This has everything in it. You don't have to build it from scratch. Next up, we're going to get ISO to God, which is going to help us convert ISOs to actually work properly with this hack. So we're going to download the latest zip, and we're going to put that right next to the other download we just did because we're going to need them both. And here we go. So I'm going to show you the MD5 hash of this guy. That way you can compare it to whatever one you may have found. There it is right there. Make sure it matches, please. Good. Next, we're going to extract this with whatever you extract zip files with. Not too bad. Again, very small. So there's our folder. And now we can double check. Okay. Now let's get rid of the zip file. We're going to clean up after ourselves, which I tend to forget to do in these tutorials. Now we're going to extract the ISO to God, right? Same thing, clean up after ourselves, get rid of that zip. Great, so now we have the two main things that we need. Now we're going to copy to our D drive what's inside this folder. Pay close attention. It's not that, it's not that, it's not what you're seeing here, but it's inside of here. So go into the files folder. Now grab all that you see here and copy it to D. Now, since this is going to take a few minutes, let's start preparing the games that we're going to want to use. All right, so inside my games folder, I have an ISO and I have an XBLA game, Xbox Live Arcade. So you handle things a little bit differently. For the XBLA games, just extract the thing. This is RAR, so I'm using WinRAR, whatever you have that will work. Now, those files are pretty much ready to go. So we look in here, and there is the title ID, then there's another ID, and then inside of there is the actual content. Now, if you want to stick with the formatting of Xbox, then you'll probably want to kind of keep these things nested a couple deep, just to kind of keep them from being confused with other games. Now, what about that ISO? Not going to work as is, unfortunately. So we're going to have to do some stuff. The ISO requires some effort. Now let's clean up after ourselves, get rid of our RAR file there for Renegade Ops. Great game, by the way. Now we'll go into content, and there's a 000 folder. You can see there's already some game stuff in here. One of those is the file needed to hack the Xbox. Now we're just going to go right in here, and we're going to copy that thing right next to those other ones, right inside that content 000. Do you have to put it there? No, you don't. But there's going to be some considerations once you get into the hack that you're going to want to do. And we're going to cover all of that because we are the Teach and Do channel. Now, again, this is XBLA. There are some ISO games kicking around that are already GOD, Game on Demand formatted. But for the rest of them, we're going to use ISO to God. This is a nice, easy to work little tool. And let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to add ISO. Of course, your source is the ISO image. So we will browse and we'll grab the ISO. All right, now we need to fill out some stuff. So where do you want the final package to go? Where do you want the game on demand to go? Now you could put it right onto the USB drive, right? Probably going to be writing a little bit slower, and if something goes wrong, you run out of room, God only knows. But in this case, I'm going to put it into this games folder that we already have. I'm not going to put it directly on the USB, and there's reasons why. Now, where do you want to put the temporary files? Like what do you want to use sort of as your scratch drive, right? So we're going to use H because I got plenty of room on there. And that's it. Everything else looks good, as is, by default. Now, this can take a while, depending on the speed of your drive, how big the game is, and about a billion other different things. So this should apply all the different patches and everything else necessary to make the game work. Now, that doesn't mean every ISO is going to work out of the box. I've seen some compatibility problems, but we're going to put it right next to the other stuff when we're done, right? It's still processing. So I was hoping this would be just a little bit faster, but it is 7.3 gigabytes, and God only knows what sort of weird stuff that it's doing as part of this process. This is not something I studied deeply. But yeah, you're going to need to do this for each of your ISOs. So this is taking way too long. Let's skip ahead. Yay. All right. So it's almost done. Now it's done. Great. Now we're ready to go ahead and move those source files, those new GOD files, right? And you can see it's in the same sort of setup here, right? So we'll go in here and we'll use sort of the title ID as our root, and we'll just copy it right here with the rest of it, right here on that content 00000. Right? Let's do that. So we're going to move it. I'm going to move it. You can keep it, copy it, whatever. All right. That took a while, so I skipped ahead. Great. All right. So now we have our games. We have 2 games. We have our hack. We're ready to go. All right. So here we are at the Xbox 360. I've got the USB that I just prepared, and I've unplugged my network cable and disconnected from the internet because I am signed in with my Xbox Live account, my real account, and I rather not get banned. They say that it's possible for caching stuff to get you. I don't know. It hasn't happened to me yet, but if you really want to be safe, peace and love, I warn you, make sure that you're offline all the time. All right, so here we go. Now you won't see all this other stuff, but here's Rock Band Blitz. This other stuff just happens to be there because I've got a hard drive. But yeah, so that's what you're going to run, Rock Band Blitz. This is the trial version, so you're not involved in any piracy here, although you're probably pirating games left and right. But the trial works just fine. Now this is already pre-patched, pre-hacked, ready to go. So instead of actually loading the game, it's going to run the exploit. Press A to start, easy peasy. And you do have to choose where you want your storage to be. I forgot you have to do that the first time. I'll just say USB. And it starts, right? So it's playing music right now. I just muted it, but you can also see that the lights on the front of the Xbox are doing some weird stuff. 3 stages it has to go through to make the hack happen, and those lights will change depending on what stage it is. Now there's music playing, and if the music stops, then the hack has failed and you can just start over again. We're up to, I think, like 75–80% chances of the hack working. It used to be 30%, and it used to take up to 20 minutes. Now you see, we've changed steps now. Now we're like on step 2. So hopefully in a moment, I don't know, the music stopped. I think we're screwed. It crashed. All right. Well, let's start over again, shall we? Okay, now we're back here. We're going to press A again. And here we go. Let's start the clock. Now, I'm going to put a nice AI conjured short version of how this hack works. Give you something to watch for the next 60 seconds. You can, of course, skip ahead to the end of the counter, but I find this sort of thing extraordinarily interesting, and you might too. So you can either finish reading and waiting for this hack to go, or skip ahead, your choice. Now, it is worth noting that the hack doesn't always take the same amount of time. It could take 3 seconds. It could take 2 minutes. But in this case, we are unchained and unfettered. Okay, so here we go. Now, this first screen that you see is going to give you some interesting information. You want to go through it. And the CPU key and DVD key, which I've grayed out because they're unique. It's highly recommended that you back these up. If you look down here on the screen, it will tell you how to sort of save that info to a file. I recommend you do that. It's quick, it's easy, and you're done. So I recommend doing that, and you'll only do that once. Now, there's no way currently that I know of to get rid of this tween screen without some sort of a hacked version. So, anywho, there you go. All right, so once the hack actually completes and we've gone past there, there's a little bit of a dark period and then the hack starts. This is Aurora. This is a like cover flow interface to access. Now I'm going to plug my unit back in because in order to get box art, you're going to need an internet connection. So what's with this no titles found crap? I got 2 games on the USB, a bunch of games on the hard drive. Well, the main menus and interfaces that you're going to be working with are on the start and on back. There's tons of options. We're going to go through a whole bunch of these, but some of them we're not. For now, though, we're really interested in making this interface see our content. Some of the stuff you may not see on other tutorials. All right, so we want to add a path. We're going to change the location, and we're going to start with the USB drive because I know I put 2 games on there. So we're going to go to content. Remember, I put everything in that 000 folder. Great. We're going to select that with Y. And it's probably useful to turn up your depth, but we're going to do that in a minute. What happened here? We didn't hit save, right? Easy to do. Let's do it again. Good for muscle memory. Anyway, this time let's do the hard drive. Now the hard drive is under content. Great. And again, we probably want to set that depth. This time we did do okay though. It did commit. Great. So I hit save right this time. Now it's starting to get some stuff. Perfect. Now we do need to add the USB drive though. That was the hard drive that we added. So we need to add the USB as well. Fighting with the controls here. It's still busy scanning. That's okay. So let's go ahead and add the USB. Now depth is how far from the home folder that you choose, how far down will it dig? Now you should be using 4 or 5, and I kind of purposefully, but not so much, left some of these wrong so that you could see what happens if you don't do that. All right, so again, USB content. Okay, perfect, perfect. And let's change our depth to 4. 4 is usually deep enough. All right, perfect. Okay, so now we have 2 locations, the hard drive and the USB. Now you'll notice that the hard drive, though, is only set to scan a depth of 2. That'll come back and bite us later. But for now, we are in good shape. So we're going to hit scan. You're going to see it scanning for content. And yeah, perfect. Now you want to download assets. It does start to do them by themselves, but if for some reason you need to do it, you can do it manually. Great. Now let's do a quick test here. We'll test Renegade Ops. That was one of the ones we put on the USB drive, remember? Just to make sure it works. And again, this is an XBLA game, so most of these are pretty much easy peasy. Yeah, it's a really fun game. But don't worry, we're not going to play any games here. I just want you to see that it actually does boot. And we're right. And to exit any game, just hit the Xbox button and select home, just like you would on a real Xbox. Great. So yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff downloading, right? We've got 46 games now. I've got all these assets coming down. You can turn on trailers if you want to, the whole bit. And I could show you other stuff, but I figure right now, let's just let this thing finish downloading. Now, it's going to be slow, depending on the servers and the time of day and all that other stuff. Now, I tell you what, I ran the gambit, man. I grabbed a 4 terabyte drive. I tried to partition it into 2 terabyte partitions. That didn't work. I grabbed a 500 gigabyte drive and put it in a drive enclosure. That didn't work. So finally I said, screw it. I'm going to buy a retail 500 gigabyte drive. This max one was $27. There'll be a link in the description. Thank you for using affiliate links. And this worked great. 27 bucks overnight with Amazon. I dumped like 200 and something games on this while you weren't looking. So we should really be able to seriously exploit having hundreds of games at our fingertips right now. Now, again, this works exactly the same. All I did, folks, all I did was copy the USB drive onto the root of this drive and then started adding games. Obviously, it has to be FAT32. FAT32, yes. Yes, you know how to do that now, or you could have used the Xbox to format it once again. So a couple different ways. I didn't start with the drive. Okay, people are like, why didn't you make us use a USB drive? I made you do that because every USB drive works, but not every hard drive works. I wanted you to have some confidence before we moved on to the hard drive. And we're not going to sit here and wait for the exploit this time. It actually took like 2.5 minutes or something. So we carved that right out. We are now unshackled. We are unchained. And I'm ready to see those 250 something sweet ass games on my screen. But you're probably thinking to yourself, Shane, you wouldn't be doing this if something didn't go wrong. And you would be right. So let's get into Aurora here. Hey, wait a minute. That's the same set of games I had before. So where's the rest of them? This is the part that you actually are waiting for. This is the part where I'm going to save you from hours of frustration. So let's check this out and see if you can learn while we do here. So there's my USB drive and there's my hard drive. They're both in there. Now the hard drive has a depth of 2 and the USB had a depth of 4. Everything should be fine, right? The hard drive's still picking up, so the depth of 2 is great, but maybe there's something wrong with my path. I thought maybe because I changed USB drives to this other drive, maybe I needed to remove it and create it again. So let's do that. So we're going to add it again. Choose the USB. Okay. Hint, look at the screen. Okay. So I selected content 000 as I did before, hit save. Okay. Okay. Everything looks good. 2, 4, scan, and go. What the hell? Where are the damn games? Now, for those of you who were very clever, you know what happened. But for those of you who have not figured it out, while my content was at content/000 when it was on the USB, my silly ass put it in the root of, that's right, content. So let's go take another look here. USB 0, go into content instead of content 000. That's going to be our root. And we're still going to have a pathing of 4 deep. Let's see what happens now. Oh, wait, there they go. Here they come. Yes, here they come. Okay, so here's the moral of the story. Either follow the convention of the Xbox naming system or just keep yourself consistent. This is what happens when you're not consistent with this stuff. Now, you might be imagining to yourself, well, it hasn't even found all the games yet. It's only at like 86 and there's like 250 games. So we're going to have to wait not only for it to scan for all the games, but we're going to have to let it scan for all the media and content. Okay, we're going to skip ahead. Enough of that nonsense. So here we are, a fully loaded hard drive, 250 games, all of the imagery and the metadata, everything has come down. This is a beautiful thing. This is like what you've been working for the last 20 minutes, is to get yourself to a point where you have an external hard drive, huge hard drive, stuffed with games, and you have all the beautiful cover art and all that other stuff. But we're not quite done yet with the tips. All right, so some games won't run for whatever reason, right? So this Spartacus is one that doesn't run, right? So we're going to try to run it, and I'll show you what happens. Wow, violence, blood, sex, nudity. Damn, my favorite game. Great show, by the way. If you haven't watched Spartacus, put it on your list right meow. All right, so here we go. It opens up. It looks just like the TV show. Unbelievable. From Stars. Okay, now here we go. This is the part where it tends to stop working. All right, blah, blah, blah. And it reaches out. Well, okay, you got to set your save spot first. And it reaches out and no go. All right, that server's down. Now, it could be that there's some sort of compatibility problem with the game. In this case, the server's down and dead and gone. There's nothing you can do about it. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that it was one of these titles that just needed a little nudge. If live wasn't available, it wouldn't start. Yada, 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 that sort of thing. We do have some built-in tools to help us. Now, unfortunately, Spartacus is dead in the water, so I'm not going to get to play that. but let me show you what you can try for other games that might be pissing you off and not working. So once you're here, we're going to hit Y and we're going to go in here. Now look down here. It says to hit left and right, and you can see something that says settings. Yeah, so do a settings override. Sorry, this is hard to read. And here you go. XBLA patching, license patching. So you can try some of these items to see if it will get the title in question to work. So there's your little workaround. Unfortunately, as I already said, it's not going to work. I'll fast forward a little bit and we still can't get to the server. So it's not a matter of it trying to make a quick phone home. Those servers are just down and they're not coming back. Well, this is going to happen to you. You got 2 copies of the same game. One's on one drive and one's on the other drive. You got to get rid of one of them. Unfortunately, there's not a super easy way to do it, but we can use the system file manager. Now, which one do you want to get rid of? The HDD internal or external? All right, we're going to go ahead and do the internal one. We're going to go to content 000, right? Because that's where Xbox puts the content. And here you go. They're all listed right here. Unfortunately, it's sorted by title ID and not the actual game name. Maybe there's some way to sort that. I didn't see it though. So you're just going to have to scroll until you find the game in question. And then it's a simple matter of just deleting it. There's Crimson Alliance. Now you're going to hit left to go over to the actions, scroll yourself down to delete and execute. Perfect. So now it deleted the files. All right, title's deleted. Great. So why the hell is it still there? Man, why is everything so complicated? Surely a restart will take care of the problem. The file's gone, right? The whole game is gone off of the Xbox's drive. So it's scanning. Why does it still say 249? Well, I guess we missed something along the way. Let's go see if our pair is still there. Yep, they're still there. So what the hell, man? All right, so here's what we got going on. You're being a victim of caching. So we're going to go to scripts and we're going to grab a little tool. I've already got it installed. Sorry. It's a database cleaner. Essentially, it is going to get rid of any bunny turds that are left over in your system. That's a Navy term, by the way. So we're going to grab that, install it. It'll tell you exactly what it's doing. I don't need to install it because I already got it, but that's the way to do it. Now we can run it and it's going to say it's looking at the database and processing. Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. It's processing everything. And looky there, 1 title's affected by the script. All right. And of course it wants to restart, but here we go. Okay. So we restarted and yes, we're down to 1 copy of the game. Now, once you start having like 200 games in your system, 300 games, whatever, you're going to need a favorite system, folks. You're going to need a way to filter on what you want to play most of the time. Now, if you go into the game's details, of course, you can hit favorite. That's brain dead easy, right? Go to find the next one, find the next one. We're going to go in there. We're going to type that one. There's got to be an easier way, right? This is way too complicated. So instead of that, we're going to use X. That puts us in like a list view. Oh yeah. And we can easily toggle in favorites quickly and easily by simply using Y. Favorite, 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 favorite. Yes, that's the preferred method. Scan through those 250 games, add some favorites. Now, how the hell do you filter them? We got all these favorites and there's like nothing down here. If you hit B, this is sort of your UI control. And over here under options is something called favorites. Took me longer to find that than I thought it would. You could also filter on a bunch of other stuff too. But for now, oh, look, there we go. Now we're down to the 14 that we favorited. Excellent. Very nice. Very nice. Now you may want to be able to filter on some other stuff like outside of the favorites. Favorites are great, but maybe you want to filter on other stuff, right? So if you hit the bumper, the right bumper, you get a shot at doing some filtering like just Xbox 360 games, just Xbox Live games, just Kinect games, homebrew games. You get the idea. It's a simple filtering, and I don't know why favorites isn't in there. That makes no sense to me. There should be favorites listed in there, so I didn't have to go to another UI, but whatever. But yeah, there you go. Just hit that bumper, and you're set to make those selections, right? Always keep an eye on your options, folks. There's plenty of things to see and do in here, and we're only covering a fraction of them. But you'll probably want to show all and use favorites. All right, listen, it's been a long video. You're ready to go watch something else. hopefully one of my videos. So let's do some summary here. Use the pack I provided. God, don't try to roll your own. Just go get one that you know works. The one I suggested, just get it. You'll be fine. Stay offline with this Xbox, folks, as much as you can. Disconnect your real accounts. God, you don't want to get Xbox Live banned. Be safe out there. That's all I'm saying. It's a jungle. Dump your own games. It's really easy to do so. Just go to that settings and scripts, and there's a script in there that will let you dump your own game disks. Far easier than downloading, far easier than doing ISO to God. It's far faster and simpler and so much more happy if you just rip your own stuff. Okay, so that's my PSA. You can use a hard drive, right? But it needs to be 2 terabytes or less. It needs to be FAT32, as does the USB stick. It needs to be a real like commercial drive. It can't be something you threw together or using some sort of a drive enclosure. All right, listen, my YouTube coach would kick me in the ass if I didn't beg you to subscribe and leave a comment and like and do all that other stuff that the algorithm likes. My YouTube coach also tells me 97% of you are not subscribed. And they told me to mention the children and think about the children, and you're not subscribing, and God, listen to the children, something about the children. I don't know what it was, but the YouTube coach basically said I needed to tell you to subscribe, or otherwise the children go hungry or something. So you guys know what to do. Listen, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm Shane R. Monroe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.